All rights are reserved by the respective owners of this podcast. You can receive up to a $5,000 fine for pirating or illegally distributing this podcast. Cue the music.
Welcome to the Bitter Pineapple Podcast. We are joined here today by our esteemed host, Andrew McBride, along with topic analysts Aaron Palmer and Christian Levitt.
Thank you, Henry, for that warm introduction.
It is a pleasure to be here today.
Likewise, I feel truly honored to be welcomed here today under the prestigious, world-renowned Bitter Pineapple Podcast.
Since the advent of modern technology, the pace of our everyday lives has sped up dramatically. As a result, humans are constantly attempting to do multiple things at once. Aaron, what are your thoughts on how humans cope with this increase in the pace of our everyday lives?
Yesterday, I was reading a study conducted by the American Psychological Association, and it was determined that it is extremely difficult for humans to perform multiple tasks simultaneously while remaining focused. However, humans can switch rapidly between multiple tasks, but this causes a sharp decrease in productivity and effectiveness. The bottom line is, humans cannot effectively multitask. Multitasking simply does not exist.
What?
Henry, shut up.
As I was going to say, keeping in mind Aaron's analysis of the multitasking study, I've heard that texting while driving, a common form of multitasking, is not fully illegal in several states. Christian, would you care to elaborate?
Andrew, it's as if I have just received a synthesis essay prompt. I want you to know that I have waited my entire life to elaborate on where texting while driving is legal in the U.S.
Yes! Okay then, go right on ahead.
There is a partial ban on texting while driving in Texas and Missouri. And in Montana,
no one lives there.
And in Montana and Arizona, there are no restrictions on texting while driving.
Aaron, is texting while driving really that bad?
Andrew, I'm glad you asked. Nearly 330,000 injuries occur each year from accidents caused by texting while driving. 1 out of every 4 car accidents in the United States is caused by texting and driving. Texting while driving is 6 times more likely to cause an accident than driving drunk. Cell phone use while driving leads to 1.6 million crashes each year. Texting while driving is a dangerous habit that plagues our roadways. It should be illegal in every state.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty bad. Simple yes would have sufficed. Christian, is this opinion controversial?
Well, Andrew, Aaron is actually not alone in his deduction. In fact, 94% of drivers support a ban on texting while driving.
Knowing how dangerous it is, why do nearly 1/3 of Americans still admit to doing it?
That is an excellent question, but I request a commercial break because my throat is feeling quite parched at the moment. Sorry.
It's not really time yet, but I guess we can cut to one. We'll be right back after a few words from our sponsors.
Have you ever been injured in a texting while driving related car crash and seek financial compensation? Call the Levitt Defense Attorneys at 123-456-7890. That is 123-456-7890, because you know you can always leave it to Levitt.
When you're walking down the streets of central London and you realize, good grief, it's tea time! You glance across the street and see a tiny little corner shop selling a bottle of Palmer tea. 10 minutes later, your throat feels like that of an oasis. Palmer tea, God save the Queen.
And we're back.
As I was saying before those splendid advertisements, I believe that people text and drive because they believe that nothing bad can happen to them, and that it will always happen to someone else. Unfortunately, we are all someone else to someone else. It could happen to any of us.
Interesting choice of words. But do you know what time it is?
Would it be perhaps time to get a watch?
No, Christian. It's actually time to acknowledge the other side of the argument of the issue we have presented in this podcast. It's a very important rhetorical strategy when trying to compose a podcast discussing two sides to a debate. This is no place for childish humor and immature jokes. Get your head in the game, son.
Oh.
Anyways, here is Aaron with the
Other side.
While texting while driving is almost universally frowned upon, there are certain people who believe that the time, effort, and resources required to develop federal legislation against texting while driving would not be worth the cost. Their stance is that a law prohibiting the act would not reduce the number of incidents that occur.
That's right. A report by the Highway Loss Data Institute compared crash rates in 4 states that prohibit texting with those in states where it is allowed. It found no reduction in states where it is banned.
Their argument is pretty solid, especially considering they have a study reaffirming their side. But the source is comparing crash rates in general and not texting-related accidents. Making the ban on texting while driving a federal law would not only reduce fatalities, as supported by a University of Alabama study, but also allow the police to legally crack down on perpetrators, preventing future accidents of texting while driving related crashes.
If we're advocating for a federal law outlawing texting while driving in all states, then what would need to be done, Aaron, to make this a reality?
Well, the government needs to make a federal law, preventing texting while driving everywhere in the United States, and it needs to do it now. Because every day, more crashes and more fatalities are happening because of texting while driving. Do you agree, Andrew?
Yeah, I agree, mainly because not only can it affect the driver themselves, but actually most crashes lead to the loss of just an innocent bystander, such as maybe just like, a young child walking across the street, or someone sitting on a curb waiting for the bus or something like that. So I think it definitely needs to be put into effect as soon as possible. Anyways, Christian and Aaron, thank you for joining me today on the Bitter Pineapple Podcast.
It was a pleasure to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Glad I could help.
And thank you, listeners, for tuning in and listening to us discuss texting while driving. Join us next time for more Bitter Pineapple. We've had a lot of fun here on the Bitter Pineapple. We've joked and laughed in an attempt to lighten the atmosphere. But the sobering reality is, texting while driving has a devastating effect on people across the country. As Aaron said, it truly is a plague on our roadways that we need to take action against. To end off, we'd like you to listen to a little clip of a victim of a texting while driving related accident.
If I get a text, I look at my phone.
It's definitely texting.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Snapchat. I do Snapchat and drive sometimes.
Is that like making Snapchats or watching them?
Making them.
Texting is like my main form of communication.
Boredom, honestly.
And B, I guess no, it's really just A.
I've only never done it at stoplights. I've always been really good about it.
The passenger has a pretty important role driving now, where they're like, oh, red light, red light.
If someone that you like texts you, you can't just let it sit there without just knowing what they said.
Because what if something exciting's happening or something happened?
Like every time I do it, I think about, I'm like, why am I doing this? And then I just keep doing it.
So I'd like to, want to introduce you to a friend of ours.
My name is JC.
Hi, Alexis.
Hi, Dash.
Justin, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I just really quickly want to have a chat, tell you what happened to me. When I was 21 years old, driving home from my college graduation ceremony, driver on his phone was so distracted, he turned left into the intersection at a red light. Another car, an 18-wheeler, swerved to miss him and hit my family's car. And the resulting collision actually killed both of my parents. I spent 2 months in the hospital fighting for my own life, and then 2 more months in a rehab hospital, learning how to walk again, learning how to speak again, learning how to dress myself and how to feed myself. I live with a partially paralyzed body. I didn't have my daddy to walk me down the aisle when I got married.
Having sort of met JC, because you look at JC and sort of give those same reasons.
Usually I use my phone to change a song on. I try to use it as little as possible, but
Honestly, if I have been sitting at a red light, I'll like glance down to see if my mom's texting me, but the people's lives that are impacted from something that is so stupid.
I know this is hard, I'm sorry, it's hard for me too, but you know this is real. You have the power to really actually make a difference and do something about it.